What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Halloween has arrived, the season of the witch, the time of the year where we celebrate monsters. And continuing this year's tradition of covering another Halloween movie, today we are on year 7. Can you believe that already? Year 7 of making videos on this channel. But where does year 7 bring us to Halloween movie standards? It's finally time for Halloween Water, otherwise known as Halloween H20, 20 years later. And here we are reviewing it a little over 20 years even later. Oh my god. This brings us up to the point where the timeline starts getting messy with reboots and retcons. If you recall last year's review of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, that movie was an absolute mess. There is no way around that. 2 very different cuts of the movie happened. Michael was revealed to be a puppet of a weird Halloween cult that controlled him with some ritualistic dark magic. Michael had a baby with his niece. And yeah, that's a thing they did. It's all very bizarre. It's a movie that by the end you can't help but think, what the hell was that? What did I just see? In fact, it was such a mess that the follow-up, Halloween 7, finalized as Halloween H20, said, yeah, we messed up, we gotta fix all that, and their solution was to pretend that none of it ever happened. That's right, Halloween H20 essentially creates a new continuity. This time we only have Halloween 1 and 2, and this new continuity, 4, 5, and 6 never happened, and 3, well, that was technically never part of the Michael Myers saga to begin with anyway, so let's cross that out too. So Halloween H20 is the new Halloween 3, in 1998 when it released. In the future of this channel, we'll be revisiting this exact same conversation multiple times. And originally, like Halloween 6, Halloween 7 went through multiple different forms before they figured out what the hell this movie was going to be. One version of the story that heavily incorporates Halloween 6 dropped the Halloween title completely and titled it Michael Myers Lord of the Dead, which would have involved Tommy Doyle discovering that the entire town of Haddonfield was involved with this whole cult idea, and that would have eventually led to a storyline with Laurie becoming Michael. They unmask him at the end and it was her the whole time. Horrible, horrible ideas. Halloween 7, Two Faces of Evil was going to be a direct-to-video movie that did the whole copycat killer thing that Friday the 13th already did. No Michael Myers, just someone recreating his actions in an all-women's boarding school. And the killer was actually intended to be this kid, Charlie, that ended up being a character in H20. They basically had to tell him, you know what, we wanted you to be the killer. Sorry, you're just going to be some kid now. And it's ironic that he was originally intended to be the killer, because in the final product...
Charlie, what are you...
In time, the production team were able to successfully get Jamie Lee Curtis on board. During this time period, she was a megastar, and she hadn't been in a Halloween movie since Halloween 2. Gone was the copycat killer idea, Laurie Strode was back, and the movie needed to be rewritten to incorporate her. And they almost had John Carpenter back too, the original director of Halloween, which would have kind of united everyone all over again. That would have been awesome. Almost had him, but much like Jamie Lee Curtis, he was also a much bigger name at that point in time. His starting fee was $10 million and he demanded a 3-picture deal, and Halloween producer Mustafa Akkad said hell no. So once the script reincorporated Laurie Strode as the main character, it went from Halloween Blood Ties to Halloween 7, The Revenge of Laurie Strode, a sequel that would have kept the previous movies intact. Laurie still had a daughter that she abandoned to protect her from Michael, although she still died in Halloween 6 after having his baby. But the decision was made to start fresh, and overall, I think that was the best thing they could have done. Although H20 is not one of my favorite Halloween movies, it's a competent sequel. And it cuts out all this over-convoluted cult backstory. It's back to basics Halloween. Michael wants to find Laurie, and he's butchering people on his way to her. Halloween does not need to be more complicated than that, ever. That's when the series is at its best, but they did incorporate some small elements from 4, 5, and 6. Before the events of Halloween H20, Laurie Strode changed her name to Carrie Tate and faked her death via a car accident, so that part is kept. There is no mention of her daughter, though. Jamie Lloyd's completely scrapped. Sorry, Jamie Lloyd. This time she has a son, though, called John Tate, played by babyface Josh Hartnett in one of his first major roles. She's living a secret life as headmistress of a private school in California, where her son also attends, and she's been living for 20 years since Halloween 2 with some severe PTSD and paranoia. She's an extremely overprotective mother, not letting her son celebrate Halloween, not letting him get out of her sight, pretty much not letting him do anything, to the point where she drives him crazy, and she drives everyone around her crazy.
I need you to be responsible. Do you know what that means? Responsible.
Don't talk to me about responsible, Mom.
I just need this one thing.
Mom, I am not responsible for you! That's enough. I can't take it, Mom. He's dead. Michael Myers is dead.
Can I get another glass of Chardonnay, please? Today.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Where the hell were you?
Norman told me to walk the perimeter.
And where were you when these two got out? Eyes up, Ronnie.
Psycho.
And yes, that's LL Cool J. He plays the school security guard, Ronnie. He's one of the most entertaining characters in the movie. He doesn't have a whole lot of screen time, but when he does, he shines. He seems to be the cool security guard that lets the kids get away with everything. But his passion isn't being school security. He's completely serious about being a poet and using his artistic storytelling abilities.
He turned just in time to see her enter the room. With her long, slender legs, they climbed high up her skirt, leading to two tumultuous, round melon breasts.
Round melon? What? Now, why you want to label it like food? And what kind of melon you talking about? Cantaloupe, watermelon, what?
And Ronnie did call Laurie a psycho, which, speaking of psycho, Halloween H20 does have some pretty cool nods at Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock classic. There's this character in the movie, the school secretary, Norma Watson, her name Norma being a nod to Norman Bates from Psycho. But the Psycho connections don't end there. She's also played by Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's real-life mother, who played Marion Crane, the main character in Psycho, and one of Norman Bates' victims. And in Halloween H20, she also drives the same car that she drove in Psycho, not to mention the little Psycho musical reference here.
Oh, Miss Tate,
Going back to John, his life is pretty much dedicated to his mom. Anytime she's got a breakdown, he's the one that has to step in and sort of rein her back. His father's not in the picture. Apparently he's some kind of deadbeat. They mention him in one scene. Not important to the story. So it is understandable how stressed out he is over time dealing with his mom's trauma, and you could tell with how disheveled his hair always looks throughout the whole movie. It's always sticking out in some sort of weird angle. There's always a piece of his hair just sticking up.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Comb your hair.
We don't see Laurie right away at the beginning of the movie, though. Instead, the intro focuses on how Michael finds out about her new identity and where she is. Nurse Chambers returns from the original movie, it's same nurse, and she finds her home in Langdon, Illinois ransacked 2 days before Halloween. So this is October 29th, 1998. So she gets the neighborhood kid, Jimmy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, in his much younger years, to investigate her house. Her office is completely trashed, and Jimmy's shitting his pants because he doesn't know who's in there, and he accidentally trashes her kitchen. Finds nothing. He's fairly worthless. He didn't really do anything. But you know what happens to worthless characters in slasher flicks? There does need to be a body count. Let's remember this. And Michael isn't too happy that Laurie was hidden away from him for so many years.
But they did a real number on your office.
My office?
Yeah, there's crap everywhere. Oh, and also they messed up your kitchen really bad too. Yeah. Good night.
He found a folder with all her information in there, so he's got his mission. He knows where to go find his sister, and the people that hid this information from him have to pay. Sorry, it's the way it is.
Jimmy!
Looks like a prank.
most effective part of the opening here is, of course, the Halloween theme playing, but you also have a sound-alike for Dr. Loomis, recreating lines that Dr. Loomis said previously about Michael having the devil's eyes. It's all very effective, and it sets the tone for the rest of the film.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life and death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with his blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
And you might be wondering what Michael's been doing for the last 20 years. Well, it's not really explained in full detail. There's a bunch of newspaper clippings and photos of bodies, which I've always assumed were more Michael victims that Loomis was tracking. And someone actually pointed out to me that the photo of this guy kind of looks like me. And now I can't unsee it. It kind of freaks me out. But these pictures are the closest explanation, I guess you can call it, to where Michael's been. It seems he's just been doing his thing. He's just been rampaging around for 20 years looking for Laurie. The only other explanation we get in H2O of why he waited so long is because he simply felt like it. Michael Myers killed his sister Judith when she was 17. He went after Laurie when she was 17, and now her son is...
How old were you? What?
Now Michael just needs reliable transportation and a non-conspicuous vehicle to get to Laurie, so he decides to steal a car that practically it screams there's a mysterious serial killer in here driving me. He steals it from a mom and daughter when the little girl's about to explode, probably after a fat meal at Taco Bell. Can't hold it anymore.
Oh, don't worry. Mom, that's the boys' room.
The boys are just gonna have to deal with it.
And there it is, the fake scare. Having mentioned that, Halloween H2O is very much a product of its era. What I call the Scream era, from the mid-90s to the early 2000s, because I remember these tropes starting with that movie, at least being used very, very regularly. Those couple of years where every slasher or horror movie had the same exact poster. I swear they must have hired the same person to design every single one of these. You have the title on there, sometimes the killer's face is in there somewhere in the back or on the side. All the main characters are all arranged on the poster, giving blank stares forward. This is the Scream era personified, and Halloween H2O fully dives into all the tropes that we commonly see during that time. Instead of shocking, violent gore, this movie focuses almost exclusively on the fake-out jump scare.
Aren't we? Ah, fuck me, shit!
What?
Not you, honey. Hold on for a sec. You scared the shit out of me.
Sorry, Ronnie.
Oh, damn it! Oh.
Oh,
Jesus, Will.
sorry. I thought you saw me.
So.
The fake out jump scare, you know, that moment when it gets really quiet, then all of a sudden an obnoxiously loud sound effect plays in an attempt to scare the shit out of you, and it turns out there was never any danger. It was just someone being an asshole and getting their attention in an unreasonable manner. One criticism I have to give Halloween H2O is that it relies on the fake out jump scares way too much. For effective scares, you gotta do these few and far between. In H2O, every 2 seconds there's a jump scare, to the point where you get used to it, and by the end of the movie, they just don't even have an effect anymore, you're just waiting for it. Another trope that we see all the time, the killer's body mysteriously disappeared and nobody believes he's still alive. Let's analyze some Michael Myers science, I guess you can call it. How much damage can he take before he's no longer functional? Halloween 1, he's shot multiple times, at close range with no body armor on. He falls off a second floor balcony backwards, hitting the ground hard. In Halloween 2, after still not having some sort of medical attention, on the same evening by the way, this man just casually walks through a hospital glass door, gets shot right in the eyes, he catches fire. It's safe to say there's something quite not normal about this man. Borderline supernatural. In H2O, it's revealed that his body vanished. It's just gone. Nobody knows what happened to it. Nobody knows where it went. I think it's reasonable to think, shit, this guy still might be out there somewhere. But of course, we have the trope of, you're crazy, he's dead.
He's dead. Michael Myers is dead. You told me yourself you watched him burn.
I didn't exactly stay to see his ashes.
20 years.
Not to mention the trail of bodies seen in the newspaper clippings at the beginning. So someone's killing these people. And another trope that drives me insane. Seeing some crazy out of the ordinary shit, then pretending like nothing happened. Like when John's girlfriend Molly, she's sitting in class, she looks out the window and she sees a mystery person standing outside with a white mask. You don't think that's a little weird?
Molly, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Tate. There is a man standing right over there with a white mask just staring in here. Nope, that's not what happens. That's not what happens at all.
Have a good time.
She just goes along with her day. See something, say something. And because she didn't say anything when they could have potentially now called the police and solved the issue in advance, oh no, there goes Charlie's girlfriend Sarah. Should have said something, huh? I love how quickly Michael disappears too. It's genuinely hilarious. And that's another trope. It happens several times in the movie where someone actually sees him there. It's not a hallucination. He's there. And then he's gone. The second they blink or look away, and he clearly doesn't have enough time to get away. But I just imagine him jumping away to the sides as quickly as possible for dramatic effect. Speaking of people seeing Michael, Laurie hallucinates him, seeing him in reflections and such, and I love how she sees him as he looks in this movie, and not how she remembers him from Halloween 1 and 2. The mask is totally different from what she remembers. And the mask is something about the Halloween movies that I feel they never got quite right since the original 2 movies. I can never quite seem to explain what it is, but there's always something just off about the mask. Either it's too pasty white, it's got too little features, too many features. At this point in time, they never reached the levels of perfection that the original mask did. And in H2O, it is a mess. Throughout the movie, you actually see 4 different masks. And in many of the scenes, it's blatantly obvious. A product of studio overreach. Most of this movie was filmed when producers complained about the mask being used, so different ones were made and used for different scenes. And they just kind of put it all together and hoped viewers wouldn't notice. We did. As a content creator, I obviously do a lot of video editing myself. So it pains me that the actual people that put the movie together, the people sitting behind the computer doing the editing, it pains me to know the headache that they had to have gone through. Combining multiple scenes where clearly it's a different mask and making it seem seamless. Come and work for you. So, they don't like the mask. They have 4 others, and we need you to seamlessly connect all the footage together and make it seem like it's all one. Okay, bye. So these 4 masks, they're known as the K&B mask, the Buchler mask, sure I said that completely wrong, the Stan Winston mask, and the CGI mask. The Buchler, let's call it, mask is the one seen in the opening intro of the movie when Michael goes after Nurse Chambers. It was purposely made to look similar to the Curse of Darkness is Castlevania. It was made to look like the Curse of Michael Myers mask. It doesn't look bad. I think this one was actually decent. The original mask that was used for some of the film was the K&B mask. It's so goofy looking, and it's almost too white. He looks like Casper, literally just looks like a ghost. The eye holes are huge, and he's got this big bulging forehead. This mask was replaced with the one that you probably notice the most in the movie, the one you see the most, the Stan Winston mask. This one looks somewhat close to the original one, but it's been criticized by fans, and I agree with the criticism that it's too small for the actor. And I completely agree, it's very skin tight it seems. So much that it's awkwardly close to the actor's face so the eyes are clearly visible. It completely takes the scare factor away from Michael. Even in 4, 5, and 6 they did an effective job of hiding the actor's eyes. Having just these dark holes where human eyes should be, it gives Michael Myers this feeling of being more of a supernatural, sinister threat. Something that's not human but it's walking around like it's a person. There's that saying that the eyes are a window to the soul. So when you think of this incredibly evil force, what's scarier? This mask where you look into the eyes and you see no humanity, just these dark holes. Or this. I hate it. But I think everyone can agree the worst mask in this movie by far is the CGI mask. It's only in one scene, and it's completely pointless. It's funny because I've looked for an explanation as to why they needed a CG mask. And all I can find is fan speculation. I even went as far as watching the special features on the Blu-ray. And even the creators can't remember why they inserted a CGI mask in the scene. It was just something that was done during the mess of reshoots and editing, and it just made its way in the movie. As far as the actual story, after Michael finds out about Laurie, what is there to really say? It's a Halloween movie. You know how this is going to go. Michael travels to the private school to track down Laurie, and it would have been cool seeing him go on a crazy rampage through the school, but it's mostly empty. If you're going to go see a slasher flick, you expect a high body count, you know? But all the kids go on a trip, and John and Molly and Charlie and Sarah stay behind to be rebellious.
What are you two up to tonight?
Well, we thought we'd hit the town, pick up some guys, drop some roofies in their drinks, have a whole date rape evening.
Huh. Sounds good.
Care to join us?
I can't. I'm having my nipples pierced.
Oh.
But you two have a good time.
So the kill count's really limited here. Much of the time Michael spends sneaking around behind people and working his way to Laurie. Laurie also has this guy, I almost forgot to talk about him, Will, Mr. Brennan. He's just the guy she's dating, that she eventually reveals the truth to him, and once they realize, oh no, Michael's alive and he's here, he becomes a hero and he shoots him with incredible accuracy.
Oh, God.
Oh, but wait. He shot the wrong person and got himself killed. What a fool. This might sound horrible, but I always found the scene kind of funny when LL Cool J gets shot, because the same thing happens to him in 2 movies. In different ways, of course, but he gets hurt, you think he's dead, then it turns out he's fine. Anyone remember in Deep Blue Sea, when he was the chef? He gets hurt, you think he's dead, he comes back. It's that movie with the mutant sharks, if you haven't seen it. I recommend it. I gotta review it sometime. Once the Michael and Laurie chase begins, the end of the movie is in fast forward. And man, I feel bad for Michael. He's always been this destructive, unstoppable force, and Laurie beats the hell out of him. They should have called the movie The Revenge of Laurie Strode. She absolutely wrecks him. Hits him, stabs him with multiple objects, sends him flying. She brutalizes the man. End the movie, Michael Myers is dead. Oh, or is he? But Laurie knows better. She completely loses her mind and commits several felonies after the police show up. Not only does she grab a weapon and threaten law enforcement, she steals the ambulance with Michael's body in it, goes on a high-speed trip in the darkness of night, sends Michael flying through the windshield. He sits up likely with several broken bones, wondering what the hell is going on right now.
Come on, get up.
Then sends the vehicle careening into him and pins him against the tree. Like I said, she brutalizes him hilariously. And as he reaches out to her, perhaps for some forgiveness or trying to reconnect with his sister, maybe feels some regret and just wants to be a family now. When I first saw that movie, that ending scene shocked me. Because you see it coming, but at the same time, you're not sure, like, oh, she's not going to do it. There's no way. And then wham! Now, there's an entire story to be told here about this ending with a ton of drama behind the scenes. But we're going to save that for next year, because it has a lot to do with the next story in the Michael Myers chapter, when Michael Myers returns for Halloween 8, The Revenge of Busta Rhymes.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Halloween H20. I think it would have been a perfect conclusion to the trilogy. At the time, it would have been a trilogy. Nice and neat sandwiched between two bookends. You've got the original, you've got the sequel, and then the follow-up 20 years later and a conclusion. But money talks, and let's be real. Nobody really wants to see Michael Myers go away. We want to see these characters keep on coming back over and over and over until they ruin them. It's in our nature as horror fans. If you haven't seen Halloween H20, make sure you check it out. It is an award-winning masterpiece compared to Halloween 6, that travesty. But anyways, it's Halloween. So whatever you do out there, stay safe and be on the lookout for the boogeyman.